Welcome to the Ask Lisa podcast, the trauma-informed podcast for educators. Here's your hosts, Diane Hobbs and Lisa Taylor.
Hi, I'm Di Hobbs from the Bellarine Peninsula Salvation Army, and I'm sitting here with Lisa Taylor. Lisa, great to be here with you today.
Thank you.
In this introduction, we're going to talk a little bit about some of our observations from working within schools. Before we go into that, let's talk about who you are and this pilot that we are producing.
Thanks, Di. It's a really exciting pilot that we've got happening. I am a family therapist. I'm also in a past life been a teacher and a coach, and I've worked for over 25 years with families, particularly focused on really vulnerable families and really difficult situations and children who have some difficult behaviours. So the pilot is about supporting educators, aides, schools in managing and working through some of the difficult behaviours that children bring into their world and show and exhibit at school.
So we've been working quite closely together within schools across the Bellarine Peninsula, and some of the observations, but also some of the direct feedback from staff in particular has been, how do I help in this situation? I've got this little child that is behaving this way. How do I respond? So this podcast, in a way, this series of podcasts that we're developing is in direct response to what we're hearing and seeing on the ground, is how can we as a network better support each other when we're helping these amazing little children that find themselves in multiple different scenarios, and how can we as their adults and their mentors and their educators, how can we provide them with the best support that we can? So we just want this podcast to be a real support to you guys out there. The questions that we're going to be discussing within these podcasts, the outcomes of these podcasts, they're not isolated incidences or experiences. These are questions that keep coming up and up and up that we're all going to be tackling together.
The thing about working with challenging children and challenging behaviours is that they're all different, even though some of the questions we've got are very similar about how do I manage myself or how do I manage this situation. We've got to also remember that there's individual situations and individual ways of working and modifying and working with kids and teachers. The thing that we're looking for is, what strategies do we know that work that we could try on and use in this situation and see if it works, and if not, then what else could we do? So this podcast is about giving teachers and aides, the people working in the coalface, the people working with really vulnerable children and families, it's giving them the strategies and the tools and the ideas to try something a little bit different if what they're doing is not working already. And keeping in mind that at all times we're thinking about what is happening for this child right now. What is this child's need that is causing this behaviour or causing these outbursts or causing whatever it is that's happening right now. So we're really thinking about the child and what's happening for that child, and how can we as a community wrap around this child and think about what do we need to do differently. Even though this is the way I usually work, perhaps I need to do something a little bit different to cater and to serve this little person where they're at.
Because I think you raise a really good point there too, because I think sometimes people look at us as adults as though we have all the answers, and these little kids are looking to us as the ones that have the answers, the ones that will be able to respond in the right way. But we also come to situations with our own lenses, with our own experiences. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, we're trying to also overcome our natural instincts as well, our fight, flight, freeze instincts that can sometimes undermine what we're actually trying to do. So if we can put in these practices beforehand, become familiar with them, it might also be a little bit easier in the heat of the moment to be able to go, okay, I've got this tool that I can try and use in this situation, rather than just trying to grapple with what's within us and reacting rather than responding potentially in an effective way that will be beneficial to you as the teacher as well as to the child that's right in front of us.
I think, Di, what you're saying is really important, that what's right in front of us is what we have to deal with. And when teachers are in classrooms and they've also got to manage lots of other children, it really becomes about that management side of things. And when there is a child who is expressing through their behaviour that their need is really big and I need something else from you, for teachers it can become a real tricky space where they're pulled in lots of different directions, as well as trying to remain in control of what's happening. So some of the strategies will be perhaps, teachers might find them a little bit odd or a little bit, don't know if I can do that. And so some of this podcast might also be helping teachers to kind of think about things in a different way, or coming at things or approaching situations in a different way that might not feel really comfortable for them because of, the way they've always taught, or perhaps some of their own experiences of being out of control or having children out of control puts them in a space that's really uncomfortable. So it's about growth, and it's about support, and it's about just let's think about these individual situations which are common in schools today and take teachers away from what they're primarily trying to do.
And it's in accordance with reflective practice too, isn't it? It's about how do we reflect on the children and their growth and what they're doing, but also us as teachers, how do we reflect on our growth as well, and how potentially we might do things or, address situations in different ways that might also evoke different outcomes. So it's like the muscle, isn't it?
Yep,
Until
absolutely.
you use it, we don't strengthen it and improve it. So, we're embarking on this journey together, which is exciting. And as we said before, it's not about right or wrong. It's not about black or white. It's about let's wade through this muddy, murky waters together, for the best outcomes. And it is about evidence-based, not just like let's just trial and see, but it's also about let's embark as a community working towards best outcomes for all practitioners as well as students.
We've been out to schools and we've asked teachers to sign up, essentially, to email some questions in, and then Di and I are going to have a chat about what the question is and then possible answers, solutions, suggestions, strategies. And those will be posted onto the Salvation Army Bellarine website, where the teachers can access those at any time that they like. The podcasts themselves, each individual question will be sort of perhaps 10 to 15 minutes, so not a huge amount of time. And it's designed so that you can listen to it anywhere, wherever you are, doing the housework, whatever you might be doing, in the car, on your way to school, or maybe in a staff meeting. It might be something that you listen to and then discuss as a staff about, would this work for us? How does this work? The other thing that's really great about this podcast and this pilot is that we're also giving support to teachers after their questions have been sent in, and that's a one-on-one supervision style session where we can work through the strategies that have been suggested and kind of see if that's going to fit and see what happens. Is that going to work, and what are the possible troubleshooting issues that might come up? So we're aiming to give teachers and aides and those working with these families and kids confidence to be able to trial new things. And if it doesn't work, then we're here to support and here to back up and keep trying.
So I just want to say thank you for listening. We're all in this together, and your questions are really important to us. And as we said, there is no right or wrong question. There's no, black or white. Often the situations are quite grey that we are tackling all together. We know that you are going to benefit from this, not just you, the whole teaching community, as well as the student and greater community as well, families.
See you next time.
See you next time.
You've been listening to the Ask Lisa podcast. You can email Lisa your questions at lisa@strengtheningfamiliesaustralia.com.au or visit our website salvationarmy.org.au/Bellarine Peninsula.